I'm going to throw something at you, but I need you to be really open-minded. There are a lot of Star Trek fans that show up on this channel when we talk about anything Trek, and I truly appreciate you guys. I need you to be open-minded with this one. This is one of those ideas that sounds exciting on the surface, but the second you really start thinking about it, it gets complicated fast. What if they rebooted Star Trek: The Next Generation? Not a continuation, not legacy, not a nostalgia cameo like we saw in Picard. I'm talking a full, clean reboot. New cast, modern production, retelling that era from scratch. And the reason this conversation even exists is because we've already seen it happen once. And that was with the Kelvin timeline. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Jimmy, your Chaos. And yes, we are going down a deep rabbit hole today, but I want you to stay with me. And yes, I read every single comment on every single video. What if I told you guys you could trade on the market future on whether or not Paramount will announce a new live-action Star Trek TV series in 2026? That's what I've got for you guys today. I have partnered with Delphi to bring something a little different to the channel, specifically my Star Trek viewers, that you get to take part in custom markets. Think of them like prediction markets. You're not just watching the content, you are actually participating in it by making predictions on outcomes. And we are going to focus on Star Trek. And with my partnership with Delphi, I get to create custom markets just for you guys. So the cool part is it turns a community into part of the experience, and you can put your opinion into a live market and trade with everybody else. Delphi is built to be open and decentralized, so it's not controlled by one company making any of the calls. All the outcomes are handled by AI, and everything runs automatically in the background. And as you can see on the screen, I've got 2 custom markets for you guys. Will Paramount announce a new live-action Star Trek TV series in 2026? I want to know your thoughts. And will Paramount announce a new live-action Star Trek movie in 2026? The link is in the description and the pinned comment if you guys want to go check out these markets and actively trade on them. And if one of these announcements happens in 2026, that was the correct prediction. And if it doesn't happen by the end of 2026, that was the correct prediction. So you guys check them out. Let me know what you think. We could do some really interesting stuff in the Star Trek space. So let's start there, because that's the blueprint everybody immediately jumps to. And we are entering the Star Trek Dark Ages. We are. There are no confirmed projects going on right now. I did see something the other day that somebody was saying that a movie is confirmed and being worked on, but we don't have any details on that yet. So we have all kinds of potentials. We have the year 1 that's been pitched. We have Legacy. We have Trek United. We have a lot of different things that could happen, but nothing is confirmed yet. Now, when J.J. Abrams rebooted Star Trek back in 2009, it worked. Not just a little bit. It worked in a way that brought in a completely new audience while still giving longtime fans something familiar. You had new actors playing iconic roles, but instead of replacing the original timeline, they created a split timeline. That was the key. It gave them freedom without completely erasing what came before, and that's important because The Next Generation isn't just another show. It's sacred territory for a lot of us, and I'll let you decide. What's the best TV show in Trek? Is it Next Generation? Is it Deep Space Nine? Is it Discovery? Is it Enterprise? You guys tell me. Actually, if you want to rank them in the comment section, that would be fun. But for me, The Next Generation is at the top. And so we go back and we rewind. People saying, oh, they're going to reboot with the Kelvin timeline. You're going to reboot classics like Spock and Kirk. You can't do that. That'll never work. It did work. I mean, Star Trek 2009 was entertaining. It was great. It was off to a great start. I thoroughly enjoy those movies. I am advocating for Part 4. I am. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Rebooting The Next Generation is completely different as a challenge than rebooting the original series, because TOS was already a product of its time. It was easier to modernize it, upgrade the visuals, tighten the storytelling, make it more cinematic. But TNG already feels modern in a lot of ways. The characters, the theming, the pacing, it holds up way better than most people expected it to. So if you reboot it, what would you actually be improving? That's the first big hurdle, right? Because if you're just retelling the same stories with new actors, people are going to reject it immediately, and rightfully so. There's no upside to doing a beat-for-beat remake of Picard, Riker, Data, the Enterprise D. You're just inviting comparisons that you're not going to win. But if you change too much, it doesn't feel like The Next Generation anymore at all. That balance right there is where this either works or it completely falls apart. So let's talk about the scenario where they actually try to do this the right way. First, well, if they're smart, they probably don't call it The Next Generation. That name carries way too much weight, right? you'd reframe it with something new, but set in the same era, same time period, same federation, same general structure. But instead of recreating Picard and his crew exactly, you build a new crew that mirrors those types. A captain with the same philosophical presence, but not trying to be Patrick Stewart. A first officer dynamic that feels familiar, but it's not Riker 2.0. And of course, you have to have your android or AI character, but evolve for today's conversations about technology. Now, you're not necessarily rebooting TNG. You are reinterpreting what actually made it work, right? Now, I mean, let's be real here. The reason The Next Generation worked wasn't just the characters, it was the ideas. It was a show about exploration, ethics, diplomacy, the future of humanity. It literally had everything in the pot. It wasn't just action. It was slower, it was more thoughtful, sometimes methodical, sometimes even uncomfortable in how it handled those big questions. And that's why modern Star Trek has struggled a bit, if you ask me. A lot of it has leaned into action, darker tones, higher stakes, but not always that same philosophical core. So if you were to reboot TNG and you don't bring that back, you probably already missed. Now, let's flip it the other way, okay? What if they went full Kelvin timeline with TNG? I know, I told you guys to stay with me on this. It was going to be a wild speculation video. Alternate universe. New versions of Picard, Data, Worf, all of them. I know this is where it gets super, super risky because casting those roles again, well, it's almost impossible to get it right. You're not just casting a character, you're casting someone who's been watching for decades. And if it feels even slightly off, it's over. People will not buy in, but I go back again. They did it with legacy characters. They recast Kirk. They recast Bones. I know a lot of you don't like what's his name as Bones, but I was okay with it. They recast all of them, and I thought they knocked it out of the park. I really, really did. So why couldn't they come up with good recastings for Picard, Data, Worf, Crusher, all of them? So let's say they nail it. Let's say they nail the casting. Then let's say they find a Picard, that's the most important part, that feels fresh but still carries that same authority. Got to have a Data that feels like an evolution, not an imitation, right? Then you've got something interesting going on because you could retell all of those classic stories, but you could add modern pacing, modern visuals, a more cinematic feel. Episodes like The Measure of Man or The Best of Both Worlds with today's production value, that would be interesting to me. It could hit in a completely different way. But again, you are walking this Star Trek tightrope because fans already know these stories very, very well. And if your version isn't as good or better, they're going to judge you. And they're going to say, why does it exist? And I'm going to say, you're right. Why does it? So here's what I think the smartest move would be. You don't reboot The Next Generation directly. You soft reboot the idea of it. You create this new flagship show that feels like TNG spiritually. You've got that optimistic tone, exploration focus, character driven, less about galaxy ending threats, more about the discovery and moral dilemmas of the galaxy. And then, well, you kind of let it stand on its own because right now, Star Trek is in that weird Dark Ages place. There's a lot of content out there, but not all of it hits the same audience, and a lot of it has failed. You've got different tones, different styles, different directions. You've got fans being pulled in every different direction. So a true Next Generation style show, modernized but grounded, that could actually unify a lot of that. Now, I mean, the really big question is that we have to ask ourselves, would it actually succeed? The honest answer is, it depends on the audience they're aiming for. That's my honest answer. If they try to please only hardcore fans, it's going to struggle. If they ignore longtime fans completely, it's going to get rejected, I promise. The Kelvin movies work because they hit that special middle ground. They respected the past, but they weren't controlled by the past. And I think that's the formula here for something wild that will probably never happen, but it's fun to talk about. If they get that right, it could work. There's room for it. There's demand for something, right? Honestly, there's a gap right now for a show that feels like classic Trek. I know you guys feel the same way, but still looks and moves like something modern audiences want to watch. But then again, this is one of those, if you throw a bunch of money at it and you get it wrong, if you get one casting wrong, it's going to feel like a cash grab. It's going to feel like a remake that nobody asked for, and it's just going to get shut down because The Next Generation isn't just another show you can reboot and hope for the best. It is one of those things where expectations are already sky high before you even shoot the first scene. But don't think I wouldn't be interested. Don't think I wouldn't be eagle-eye watching every move of it because I would be digesting all of it. So yeah, I mean, it's an idea that sounds simple, but it's actually probably one of the hardest things that Paramount could pull off. So I want to know from you guys, if they did it, if they rebooted, soft rebooted, hard rebooted, reimagined, alternate timeline, The Next Generation, what do you want? you want a full reboot with a new Picard and crew? Or do you want a brand new crew that just carries the Next Generation feel? You guys let me know. I definitely want to get in the comments on this one. I'll see you guys soon.